Hello, everybody. Welcome to TRP, the random podcast with me, Saurabh Saneja. This is the book reading series of TRP, and currently we are reading the book The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin S. Sharp. We are now starting with the chapter 9, The Ancient Art of Self-Leadership. Good people strengthen themselves ceaselessly. Time is passing quickly, said Julian, before pouring himself another cup of tea. The morning will soon be upon us. Do you want me to continue, or have you had enough for one night? There was no way that I was going to let this man, uh, who held such gems of wisdom within his grasp, stop without completing his story. At the outset, his tale seemed fantastic, but as I listened to him, as I absorbed the ageless philosophy that had been bestowed upon him, I came to believe deeply in what he was saying. These were not the superficial self-serving ruminations of some two-bit huckster. Julian was the real thing. He clearly walked his talk, and his message rang true. I trusted him. Please continue, Julian. I have all the time in the world. The kids are sleeping at their grandparents' house tonight, and Jenny won't be up for hours. Sensing my sincerity, he continued with the symbolic fable that Yogi Raman had offered him to illustrate his wisdom on cultivating a richer, more radiant life. I told, I told you that the garden represents the fertile garden of your mind, a garden that is filled with delightful treasures and boundless riches. I've also spoken of the lighthouse and how it represents the power of goals and the importance of discovering your calling in life. You will recall that as the fable continues, the door of the lighthouse slowly opens, and out walks a 9 foot tall, 900-pound Japanese sumo wrestler. Sounds like a bad Godzilla movie. I used to love those when I was a kid. Me too, but don't let me distract you, I replied. The sumo wrestler represents a very important element in the life-changing system of the sages of Siva. Yogi Raman told me that many centuries ago in the ancient East, the great teachers developed and refined a philosophy called Kaizen. This Japanese word means constant and never-ending improvement, and is the personal trademark of every man and woman who is living a soaring, fully awakened existence. How did the concept of Kaizen enrich the lives of these sages? I asked. As I mentioned earlier, John, success on the outside begins with success on the inside. If you really want to improve your outer world, whether this means your health, your relationship, or your finances, you must first improve your inner world. The most effective way to do this is through the practice of continuous self-improvement. The self-mastery is the DNA of life mastery. Julian, I hope you don't mind me saying it, but all this talk about one's inner world sounds more like a little esoteric to me. Remember, I'm just a middle class lawyer from the leafy suburbs with a minivan sitting in the driveway and a lawn boy in the garage. Look, everything you have told me so far makes sense. As a matter of fact, much of what you have shared with me appears to be common sense. Although I know that common sense is anything but common in this day and age, I must tell you though, I'm having a little difficulty with this notion of Kaizen and improving my inner world. What exactly are we talking about? Jim was agile in his response. In our society, we all too often label the ignorant as weak. However, those who express their lack of knowledge and seek instructions find the path to enlightenment before anyone else. Your questions are honest and show me that you are open to fresh ideas. Change is the most powerful force in our society today. Most people fear it, the wise embrace it. Zen tradition speaks of a beginner's mind, those who keep their mind open to new concepts. Those whose cups are always empty will always move to higher levels of achievement and fulfillment. Never be reluctant to ask even the most basic of questions. Questions are the most effective method of eliciting knowledge. Thanks, but still, I still am unclear about Kaizen. When I speak of improving your inner world, I am simply speaking of self-improvement and personal expansion, and it is the best thing you can do for yourself. You must think that you are too busy to spend time working on yourself. This would be a very big mistake. You see, when you have taken the time to build a strong character full of discipline, energy, power, and optimism, you can have anything and you can do anything you want in your outer world. When you have cultivated a deep sense of faith in your abilities and an indomitable spirit, nothing can stop you from succeeding in all your pursuits and living with great rewards. Taking the time to master your mind, to care for the body, and to nourish your soul will put you in a position to develop more richness and vitality in your life. It is as Epictetus said so many years ago, no man is free who is not a master of himself. So Kaizen is actually a very practical concept. Very. Think about it, John. How could a person possibly lead a corporation if he cannot even lead himself? How could you nurture a family if you haven't learned to nurture and care for yourself? How could you possibly do good if you don't even feel good? Do you see my point? I nodded in full agreement. This was the first time I had given any serious thought to the importance of improving myself. I had always thought that all those people I would see on the subway reading books with titles like The Power of Positive Thinking or Mega Living were troubled souls departed for some form of medicine to get them back on course. Now I realize that those who took the time to strengthen themselves were the strongest, and that it was only through improving oneself that one could ever hope to improve the lot of others. I then started to reflect on all things I could improve. I really could use the added energy and good health that exercising would surely bring. Ridding off myself of my nasty temper and my habit of interrupting others might do wonders for my relationship with my wife and kids. And erasing my worry about habit would give me the peace of mind and deep happiness I had been searching for. The more I thought about it, the more potential improvements I saw. As I started to see all the positive things that would flood into my life through the cultivation of good habits, I grew excited. But I realized that Julian was talking about far more than the importance of daily exercise, a healthy diet, healthful diet, and a balanced lifestyle. What he had learned in the Himalayas was deeper and more meaningful than this. He spoke of the importance of building strength of character, developing mental toughness, and living with courage. He told me that these three attributes would lead one not only to a virtuous life, but to a life filled with achievement, satisfaction, and inner peace. Courage was a quality everyone could cultivate and one that would pay huge dividends over the long term. What does courage have to do with self-leadership and personal development? I wondered aloud. Courage allows you to run your own race. Courage allows you to do whatever you want to do because you know that it is right. Courage gives you the self-control to persist where others have failed. Ultimately, the degree of courage you live with determines the amount of fulfillment you receive. It allows you to truly realize all the exquisite wonders of the epic that is your life. And those who master themselves have an abundance of courage. Okay, I'm starting to understand the power of working on myself. Where do I start? Julian returned to his conversation with Yogi Raman high atop the mountains on what he remembered as a remarkably starry and gloriously beautiful night. Initially, I too had trouble with the notion of self-improvement. After all, I was a tough, Harvard-trained legal gunslinger who had no time for the New Age theories forced on me by what I thought were people with bad haircut who hung out at airports. I was wrong. I was this close-mindedness. It was this close-mindedness that was holding my life back all those years. The more I listened to Yogi Raman, the more I reflected on the pain and suffering of my former world. The more I welcomed the philosophy of present, constant and never-ending enrichment of the mind, body and soul into my new life, Julian asserted. Why am I hearing so much about the mind, body and soul these days? It seems I can't even turn on the tube without someone making mention of it. This is the trilogy of your human endowments. To improve your mind without the cultivation of physical gifts would be a very hollow victory. Elevating your mind and body to their highest level without nurturing your soul would leave you feeling very empty and unfulfilled. But when you dedicated your energies to unlocking the full potential of all three of your human endowments, you will taste the divine ecstasy of an enlightened life. You've got me pretty excited, pal. As your question about where to start, I promise that I will give you a number of ancient yet powerful techniques in a few moments. But first, I must share a practical illustration with you. Get into push-up position. Good grief, Julian's become a drill sergeant, I silently thought. Being curious and wishing to keep my cup empty, I complied. Now, do as many push-ups as you can possibly do. Don't stop until you truly are certain that you cannot do anymore. I struggled with the exercise, my 215-pound frame not being used to much more than walking to the nearest McDonald's with my kids or meandering through a round of golf with my law partners. The first 15 push-ups were pure agony, with the heat of that summer evening added to my discomfort. I started to sweat profusely, however, I was determined not to show any signs of weakness and carried on until my vanity started to give way along with my arms. At 23 push-ups, I gave up. No more, Julian, this is killing me. What are you trying to do? Are you certain that you can't do any more? I'm sure. Come on, give me a break. The only lesson I'm going to learn from this is what to do for a heart attack. Do 10 more, then you can rest, commanded Julian. You have got to be kidding. But I continued. 1, 2, 5, 8, and finally 10. I lay on the floor in total exhaustion. I went through precisely the same experience with Yogi Raman the night he shared his special pebble with me, said Julian. He told me that pain was a great teacher. How could anyone possibly learn from an experience like this? I asked breathlessly. Yogi Raman and all of the sages of Sivana, for that matter, believe that people grow the most when they enter the zone of the unknown. Okay, but what does that have to do with making me do all those push-ups? You told me after you had done 23 that you couldn't do any more. You told me that this was your absolute limit, yet when I challenged you to do more, you responded with another 10 push-ups. You had more inside you, and when you reached for your resources, you received more. Yogi Raman explained the fundamental truth to me while I was a student. The only limits on your life are those that you set yourself. When you dare to get out of your circle of comfort and explore the unknown, you start to liberate your true human potential. This is the first step towards self-mastery and mastery over every other circumstance in your life. When you push beyond your limits, just as you did in this little demonstration, you unlock mental and physical results that you never thought you had. Fascinating, I thought. Come to think of it, I had recently read in a book that average person uses only a minute measure of his human capacity. I wondered what we could do if we started using the remaining reservoir of our abilities. Julian sensed he was on a roll. You practice the art of Kaizen by pushing yourself daily. Work hard to improve your mind and body, nourish your spirit, do the things you fear, start to live with unbridled energy and limitless enthusiasm. Watch the sunrise, dance in a rain shower, be the person you dream of being. Do the things you have always wanted to do, but didn't because you tricked yourself into believing that you were too young, too old, too rich, or too poor. Prepare to live a soaring, fully alive life. In the East, they say that luck favors the prepared mind. I believe that life favors the prepared mind. Julian continued his passionate discourse. Identify the things that are holding you back. You are scared of speaking, or do you have trouble in your relationship? Do you lack a positive attitude, or do you need more energy? Make a written inventory of your weakness. Satisfied people are far more thoughtful than others. Take the time to reflect on what it is that might be keeping you from the life you really want and how deep down you can have. Once you have identified what your weaknesses are, the next step is to face them head on and attack your fears. If you fear public speaking, sign up to give 20 speeches. If you fear starting a new business or getting out of a dissatisfying relationship, muster every ounce of your inner resolve and do it. This might be the first taste of real freedom that you have experienced in years. Fear is nothing more than a mental monster you have created, a negative stream of consciousness. Fear is nothing more than a negative stream of consciousness? I like that. You mean all my fears are nothing more than imaginary little gremlins that have crept into my mind over the years? Exactly, John. Every time they have prevented you from taking some action, you have added fuel to their fire. But when you conquer your fears, you conquer your life. I need an example. Sure, let's take public speaking, an activity most people fear more than death itself. When I was a litigator, I actually saw lawyers who were scared of stepping into court. They would do anything, including settling their clients' otherwise worthy cases, just to avoid the pain of getting up on their feet inside a packed courtroom. I've seen them too. Do you actually think that they were born with this fear? I sure hope not. Study a baby, she has no limits. Her mind is a lush landscape of potential and possibility. Properly cultivated, it will lead her to greatness. Filled with negativity, it will lead her to mediocrity. At best, what I am saying is this: no experience, whether it is public speaking, or asking your boss for a raise, or swimming in a sun soaked lake, or walking along the beach on a moonlit night, is inherently painful or pleasant. It is your thinking that makes it so. Interesting. A baby could be trained to view a glorious sunny day as depressing. A child could be trained to see puppy as a vicious animal. An adult could be trained to see drug as a pleasant vehicle for release. It's all the matter of conditioning, isn't it? Sure. The same holds true for fear. Fear is a conditioned response, a self-sucking habit that can easily consume your energy, creativity, and spirit if you are not careful. When fear rears its ugly head, beat it down quickly. The best way to do that is to do the thing you fear. Understand the anatomy of fear. It is your own creation, like any other creation. It is just as easy to tear it down as it is to erect it. Methodically search for and then destroy every fear that has secretly slid into the fortress of your mind. This alone will give you enormous confidence and happiness and peace of mind. Can a person's mind actually be fully fearless? I asked. Good question. The answer is an unequivocal and empathetic yes. Each and every one of the sages of Sivana was absolutely fearless. You could see it in the way they walked, you could see it in the way they talked, you could see it when you look deep into their eyes. And I'll tell you something else, John. What? I was fascinated by what I was hearing. I'm fearless. I know myself, and I have come to see that my natural state is one of the indomitable strength and unlimited potential. It was just that I was blocked by all those years of self-neglect and unbalanced thinking. I'll tell you another thing. When you erase fear from your mind, you start to look younger and your health becomes more vibrant. Ah, the old mind-body connection, I replied, hoping to mask my ignorance. Yes, the sages of the East have known about it for over 5,000 years. Hardly new age, he said, with a broad grin lighting up his radiant face. The sages shared another powerful principle with me, which I think about often. I think it will be invaluable to you as you walk the path of self-leadership and personal mastery. It has given me the motivation at times when I feel like taking things easy. The philosophy can be stated succinctly. What sets highly actualized people apart from those who never live an inspired life is that they do those things that less developed people don't like doing, even though they might not like doing them either. Truly enlightened people, those who experience deep happiness daily, are prepared to put off short-term pleasure for the sake of long-term fulfillment. So they tackle their weaknesses and fears head on. Even if dipping into the zone of the unknown brings with it a measure of discomfort. They resolve to live by the wisdom of Kaizen, improving every aspect of themselves ceaselessly and continuously. With time, things that were once difficult become easy. Fears that once prevented them from all the happiness, health, and prosperity they deserve fall to wayside like stigma toppled by a hurricane. So you're suggesting that I must change myself before I change my life? Yes. It's like that old story my favorite professor told me when I was in a law school. One night, a father was relaxing with his newspaper after a long day at the office. His son, who wanted to play, kept on pestering him. Finally, fed up, the father ripped out a picture of the globe that was in the paper and tore it into 100 tiny pieces. Here, son, go ahead and try to put this back together, he said, hoping that this would keep the little boy busy long enough for him to finish reading his paper. To his amazement, the son returned after only 1 minute with the globe perfectly back together. When the startled father asked how he achieved this feat, the son went gently that on the other side of the globe there was a picture of a person, and once I got the person together, the world was okay. That's a great story. You see, John, the wisest people I have ever met, from the sages of Savannah to my professor at Harvard Law School, all seems to know the key formula for happiness. Do continue, I said with a hint of impatience. It's precisely what I said earlier. Happiness comes through the progressive realization of a worthy objective. When you are doing what you truly love to do, you are bound to find deep contentment. If happiness comes to everyone who simply does what they love doing, why are so many people miserable? Fair point, John. Doing what you love, whether this means giving up the work you are presently doing to become an actor or spending less time on those things that are less important to make time for those things that are more meaningful, requires a great deal of courage. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, and change is always a little uncomfortable at first. It is also more than a little risky. Having said this, this is the surest way to design a more joyful life. Exactly how does one go about building courage? It's the same as the story. Once you get yourself together, your world will be okay. Once you master your mind, body, and character, happiness and abundance will flow into your life and almost magically. But you must spend some time daily working on yourself, even if it is for only 10 or 15 minutes. And what does the 9 foot tall, 900-pound Japanese sumo wrestler symbolize in Yogi Raman's fable? Our hefty friend will be our constant reminder of the power of Kaizen, the Japanese word for constant self-expansion and progress. In just a few hours, Julian had revealed the most powerful and most astonishing information that I had ever heard in my lifetime. I learned of the magic in my own mind and its treasure trove of potential. I learned highly practical techniques to still the mind and focus its power on my desires and dreams. I learned the importance of having a definitive purpose in life and of setting clear goals in every aspect of my personal, professional, and spiritual world. Now I had been exposed to the ageless principles of self-mastery, Kaizen. How can I practice the art of Kaizen? I'll give you 10 ancient yet supremely effective rituals that will lead you far along the path of personal mastery. If you apply them on a daily basis, with faith in their utility, you will observe remarkable results in just 1 month from today. If you continue to apply them, incorporating the techniques into your routines such that they become habits, you are bound to reach a state of perfect health, limitless energy, lasting happiness, and peace of mind. Ultimately, you will reach your divine destiny, for this is your birthright. Yogi Raman offered the 10 rituals to me with great faith in what he termed their exquisiteness, and I think you will agree that I am living proof of their power. I simply ask that you listen to what I have to say and judge the results for yourself. Life-changing results in only 30 days? I asked in disbelief. Yes, the quid pro quo is that you must set aside at least 1 hour a day for 30 consecutive days to practice the strategies I am about to offer to you. This investment in yourself is all it takes, and please don't tell me that you don't have the time. But I don't, I said honestly, my practice is really booming. I don't have 10 minutes to myself, let alone a full hour, Julian. As I told you, saying that you do not have time to improve yourself, whether this means improving your mind or nourishing your spirit, is much like saying you do not have time to stop for gas because you are too busy driving. Eventually, it will catch up with you. Really, really. How so? Let me put it this way. You're very much like a high-performance race car worth millions of dollars, a well-oiled, highly sophisticated machine. Why? Thank you, Julian. Your mind is the greatest wonder of the universe, and your body has the capacity to perform feats that might astonish you. Agreed? Knowing the value of this high-performance multi-million-dollar machine, would it be wise to turn it full out every minute of every day without taking a pit stop to let the motors cool down? Of course not. Well then, why are you not taking some time every day for your personal pit stop or rest break? Why are you not taking the time to cool down the high-performance engine of your mind? Do you see my point? Taking the time to renew yourself is the most important thing you can do. Ironically, taking time out from your hectic schedule for self-improvement and personal achievement will dramatically improve your effectiveness once you get back into it. 1 hour a day for 30 days is all it takes. It's the magic formula I was always searching for. I would probably have paid a couple of $1,000,000 for it in my old glory days if I had understood its importance. Little did I know that it was free, as is all priceless knowledge. Having said this, you must be disciplined and apply the strategies which make up the formula daily, with utter conviction in their value. This is not a quick fix type of deal. Once you are in it for the long term. What do you mean? Spending 1 hour a day tending to yourself will surely give you dramatic results in 30 days, provided you do the right things. It takes about 1 month to fully install a new habit. After this period, the strategies and techniques you will learn will fit like a second skin. The key is that you must keep on practicing them every day if you want to keep on seeing the results. Fair enough, I agree. Julian clearly had unlocked a wellspring of personal vitality and inner serenity in his own life. Actually, his transformation from a sickly, old litigator to a radiant, energetic philosopher was nothing less than miraculous. At that moment, I resolved to dedicate 1 hour a day to implementing the techniques and principles I was about to hear. I decided to work on improving myself before working to change others, as had been my habit. Maybe I too could undergo the mental like transformation. It was surely worth a try. That night, sitting on the floor of my cluttered living room, I learned what Julian called the 10 rituals of radiant living. Some of them required a little concentrated effort on my part, others could be performed effortlessly. All were intriguing and rich with the promise of extraordinary things to come. The first strategy was known to the sages as the ritual of solitude. This involves nothing more than ensuring that your daily schedules includes a mandatory period of peace. Just what is a period of peace? Is it? It is the period of time as little as 15 minutes or as much as 50, wherein you explore the healing power of silence and come to know who you really are, Julian explained. Sort of a rest break for that overheated engine of mine, I suggested with a slight smile. That's pretty accurate way of looking at it. Have you ever been on a long road trip with your family? Sure, every summer we drive down to the islands to spend a couple of weeks with Jenny's parents. Okay? Do you ever make pit stops along the way? Yes, for food. Or if I'm feeling a little sleepy, I'll take a quick nap after having listened to my kids fight in the back seat for 6 hours. Well, think of the ritual of solitude as a pit stop for the soul. Its purpose is self-renewal, and this is accomplished by spending time alone, immersed in the beautiful blanket of silence. What is so special about silence? Good question. Solitude and quiet connects you to your creative source and releases the limitless intelligence of the universe. You see, John, the mind is like a lake. In our chaotic world, most people's minds are not still. We are full of inner turbulence. However, by simply taking the time to be still and quiet every day, the lake of the mind becomes as smooth as a plate of glass. This inner quietness brings with it a wealth of benefits, including a deep sense of well-being, inner peace, and boundless energy. You will even sleep better and enjoy a renewed feeling of balance in your day-to-day activities. Where should I go for this period of peace? Theoretically, you could do it anywhere, from your bedroom to your office. The key is to find a place of true quiet and beauty. How does beauty fit into the equation? Beautiful images soothe a ruffled soul, Julian observed with a deep sigh. A bouquet of roses or simply solitary daffodil will have a highly salutary effect on your senses and relax you know. Ideally, you should savor each beauty in a space that will serve a century of the self. What's that? Basically, it is a place that will become your secret forum for mental and spiritual expansion. This might be a spare room in your house or simply a peaceful corner or small apartment. The point is to reserve a spot for your renewal activities, a place that sits there quietly awaiting your arrival. I love the sound of that. I think having a silent place to go to when I come home from work would make a world of difference. I could decompress for a while and let go of the stress of the day. I would probably make it would probably make me a much nicer person to be around. That brings up another important point. The ritual of solitude works best when you practice it at same time every day. Why? Because then it becomes integrated into your routine as a ritual. By practicing it at the same time every day, a daily dose of silence will soon become a habit that you will never neglect. And positive life habits inevitably guide you to your destiny. Anything else? Yes, if at all possible. Commune with nature daily. A quick walk through the woods or even a few minutes spent cultivating your tomato garden in the backyard will reconnect you to the well springs of calm that may now be dormant within you. Being with nature also allows you to tune into the infinite wisdom of your highest self. This self-knowledge will move you into the uncharted dimensions of your personal power. Never forget this, advised Julian, his voice rising with passion. Has this ritual worked well for you, Julian? Absolutely. I rise with the sun, and the first thing I do is head off to my secret sanctuary. There I explore the heart of the rose for as long as need be. Some days I spend hours in quiet contemplation. Other days I spend only 10 minutes. The result is more or less the same, a deep sense of inner harmony and an abundance of physical energy. Which brings me to the second ritual. This is the ritual of physicality. It sounds interesting. What's it about? It's about the power of physical care. Huh? It's simple. The ritual of physicality is based on the principle that says, as you care for the body, so you care for the mind. As you prepare your body, so you prepare your mind. As you train your body, so you train your mind. Take some time every single day to nourish the temple of your body through vigorous exercise. Get your blood circulating and your body moving. Did you know that there are 168 hours in a week? No, not really. It's true. At least 5 of those hours should be invested in some form of physical activity. The sages of Sivana practiced the ancient discipline of yoga to awaken their physical potential and live a strong, dynamic existence. It was an extraordinary sight to see these marvelous physical specimens who had managed to age-proof their lives standing on their heads in the center of their village. Have you tried yoga, Julian? Jenny started practicing it last summer and says it had added 5 years to her life. There is no one strategy that will magically transform your life, John. Let me be the first to say that. Lasting and profound change comes through the continued application of a number of methods I have shared with you. But yoga is an extremely effective way to unlock your reserves of vitality. I do my yoga every morning, and it is one of the best things to do that I do for myself. It's not only regenerates my body, it completely focuses my mind. It has even unlocked my creativity. It is a terrific discipline. Did the sages do anything else to care for their bodies? Yogi Raman and his brothers and sisters also believed that vigorous walking in natural surroundings, whether high on the mountain paths or deep in the lush forest, worked wonders for relieving fatigue and restoring the body to its natural state of vibrancy. When the weather was too harsh to walk, they would exercise within the security of their huts. They might miss a meal, but they would never miss their daily round of exercise. What did they have in their huts? Nordic track machines? I could. Not quite. Sometimes they would practice yoga postures, other times I would catch a glimpse of them doing a set or two of one-hand push-ups. I really think it didn't matter too much to them what they did, so long as they moved their bodies and got the fresh air of their breathtaking surroundings flowing through their lungs. What does breathing fresh air have to do with anything? I'll answer your question with one of Yogi Raman's favorite sayings. To breathe properly is to live properly. Breathing is that simple, I asked in surprise. Quite early on in Sivana, the sages taught me that the fastest way to double or even triple the amount of energy I had was to learn the art of effective breathing. But don't we all know how to breathe, even a newborn baby? Not really, John. While most of us know how to breathe to survive, we have never learned how to breathe to thrive. Most of us breathe far too shallowly, and in so doing, we fail to take in enough oxygen to run the body at an optimal level. Sounds like proper breathing involves a lot of science. It does. And the sages treated it that way. The philosophy was simple. Take in more oxygen through efficient breathing and you liberate your energy reserves along with your natural state of vitality. Okay? So, where do I start? It's actually pretty easy. 2 or 3 times a day, take a minute or two to think about breathing more deeply and effectively. How do I know if I'm breathing effectively? Well, your belly should move out slightly. This indicates that you are breathing from the abdomen, which is good. A trick that Yogi Raman taught me was to cup my hands over my stomach, and if they move out as I inhaled, my breathing technique was proper. Very interesting. If you like that, then you'll love the third ritual of radiant living, said Julie, which is the ritual of live nourishment. In my days as a litigator, I lived off a steady diet on steaks, fries, and other types of junk food. Sure, I ate at the finest restaurants in the country, but I still filled my body with junk. I didn't know it at the time, but this was one of the main sources of my discontent. Really? Yes. A poor diet has a pronounced effect on your life. It drains your mental and physical energy, it affects your mood, and it hampers the clarity of your mind. Yogi Raman put it this way. As you nourish your body, so you nourish your mind. Assume then that you changed your diet radically, and it made an amazing difference in the way I felt and looked. I always thought that I was so run down because of the stresses and strains of my work and because the wrinkled fingers of old age were reaching out for me. In Savannah, I learned that much of my lethargy was due to the low octane fuel I was pumping into my body. What did the sages of Savannah eat to stay so youthful and bright? Life foods. Come the efficient reply, huh? Life foods are the answer. Life foods are foods that are not dead. Come on, Julian, what are life foods? Asked impatiently. Basically, life foods are those which are created through a natural interaction of the sun, air, soil, and water. What I'm talking about here is a vegetarian diet. Fill your plate with fresh vegetables, fruits, and grains, and you might just live forever. Is that possible? Most of the sages were all over 100 and they showed no signs of slowing down. And just last week, I read in the paper about a group of people living on the tiny island of Okinawa in the East China Sea. Researchers are flocking on the island because they're fascinated by the fact that it holds the largest concentration of centurions in the world. Why? What they have learned? That a vegetarian diet is one of their main longevity secrets. But is this type of diet healthy? You wouldn't think that it would give you much strength, remember? I'm still a busy litigator, Julian. This is the diet that nature intended. It is alive, vital, and supremely healthy. The sages have lived by this diet for many thousands of years, and they call it sattvic, or pure diet. And as to your concern about strength, the most powerful animals on the planet, ranging from gorillas to elephants, wear the badge of proud vegetarians. Did you know that a gorilla is about 30 times the strength of a man? Thanks for that important tidbit of information. Look, the sages are not extreme people. All of their wisdom was based on the ageless principles that one must live a life of modernization and do nothing too extreme. So if I like meat, you can certainly keep eating it. Just remember that you are ingesting dead food. If you can, cut back on the amount of red meat that you eat. It is really hard to digest, and since your digestive system is one of the most energy consuming process of your entire body, valuable energy reserves are needlessly depleted by this foodstuff. Do you see what I am getting at? Just compare how you feel after eating a steak with your energy levels after eating a salad. If you don't want to become a strict vegetarian, at least start having a salad with every meal and fruit for dessert. Even this will make a huge difference in the quality of your physical life. That doesn't seem like it would be too hard to do, I reply. I've been hearing a lot of people about the power of largely vegetarian diet. Just last week, Jenny told me about a study in Finland where it was found that 38% of new vegetarian studies reported that they felt far less tired and much more alert after only 7 months of this new way of life. I should try eating a salad with every meal. Looking at you, Julian. I might even make the salad the meal. Try it for about a month and judge the results for yourself. You will feel phenomenal. Okay, if it's good enough for the sages, it's good enough for me. I promise you, I will give it a shot. It doesn't sound like too much of a stretch, and anyway, I'm getting pretty tired of firing up the barbecue every night. If I have sold you on the rituals of life nourishment, I think you will love the fourth one. Your student is still holding his empty cup. The fourth ritual is known as the ritual of abundant knowledge. It centers around the whole notion of lifelong learning and expanding your knowledge with knowledge base for the good for yourself and all those around you. The whole knowledge is power. It involves far more than that. Strong knowledge is only potential power. For the power to be manifested, it must be applied. Most people know what they should do in any given situation, or in their lives for that matter. The problem is that they don't take daily, consistent action to apply the knowledge and realize their dreams. The ritual of abundant knowledge is all about becoming a student of life. Even more importantly, it requires that you use what you have learned in the classroom of your existence. So, yeah, let's keep our book reading for today until here only. We'll continue with it in the next one. So, I hope you like this episode of TRP, the Random Podcast. Please tell me your thoughts about this in the comments. Do like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye bye, take care, be healthy, be safe. Thank you.